I've openly said in the past that it's something I'll consider at the end of this year, that I'll look at a number of factors, personal factors, but also whether I could best promote this message and actually put in place these ideas that I want to see put in place, whether I could best do that from the presidency as opposed to the Senate.
All right, folks, they're talking about it all over the place. Welcome to Give Me Five. Marco Rubio making his comeback, his resurgence. Where's he been? I haven't seen him. And, of course, he incurred the wrath of many conservatives when it came to immigration reform. And, of course, that's not over yet. Jonathan Karl sat down with him for ABC. And among other things, there you just heard him say that he will decide whether or not he's going to run for president. And you heard what will go into the decision. Is he qualified to be president?
If I decide to run for president, I will not have some sort of exit strategy to run for the Senate.
So that will be a decision not to run for re-election.
I believe that if you want to be president of the United States, you run for president.
It's all or nothing.
You don't run for president with some eject button in the cockpit that allows you to go on an exit ramp if it doesn't work out.
Do you think you're ready to be president?
I do. I mean, but I think that's true for multiple other people that would want to run. I mean, I'll be 43 this month, but the other thing that perhaps people don't realize, I've served now in public office for the better part of 14 years. And most importantly, I think a president has to have a clear vision of where the country needs to go and clear ideas about how to get it there. And I think we're very blessed in our party to have a number of people that fit that criteria.
All right. Well, and he'll make reference to that fact again, which I admire, but I also kind of find a little strange. Immigration reform, and immigration reform. And I like Marco Rubio's answer here.
I mean, there's a lot of issues going on in the country, and immigration right now is not at the forefront. I remain convinced that we need to do something serious about our immigration problem in this country.
And the party?
And well, both parties, I think, have a responsibility. We're not going to grant blanket amnesty to 12 million people. We're also not going to round up and deport 12 million people. So that issue has to be dealt with in a reasonable but responsible way.
All right. Well, you know, his reasonable and responsible way may differ from others, but I like his answer. Immigration reform is not on the forefront of people's minds in this country right now. There are other issues. And poll after poll shows that. Even among Hispanics coming out of the polling, the voting booth in 2012 presidential election, immigration reform was like 4th or 5th on their list. This is a made-up issue in many respects when it comes to, oh, the future of the Republican Party depends on this. No, it doesn't. No, it really does not. Hardworking, law-abiding Hispanics, like hardworking, law-abiding blacks and whites, don't really favor giving lawbreakers a pass. They really don't. All right, let's move on. Next, Benghazi.
No one's been held accountable. I mean, who's been held accountable for what happened in Benghazi? This administration has a tendency on foreign policy issues in particular not to worry nearly as much about what to do and to worry more about what to say. And they decided not just to mislead the American public, but to mislead the families of these victims as to exactly what had happened.
But you have the Republican Party raising money off this investigation. Is that appropriate?
I would prefer that we would focus not on the fundraising elements or the political elements of it.
Well, I would hope they would.
And here's why, because I think it takes away from the reality of how serious a situation this is.
All right, another phony issue by the left-wing media. Please, for years, the Democrats raised money off of George Bush is a murderer. George Bush led us into war. Look at the war in Iraq. I mean, for years, as our soldiers have been dying in Iraq and Afghanistan, the left raised money off of that. That doesn't count. Next.
How big a problem is this going to be for Hillary Clinton? How much is this going to be used against her?
I'm sure she's going to go around bragging about her time in the State Department. She's also going to have to be held accountable for its failures, whether it's the failed reset with Russia or the failure in Benghazi that actually cost lives.
So what grade do you give her as Secretary of State?
I don't think she has a passing grade. In fact, if
you think she's an F?
Yeah, because if you look at the diplomacy that was pursued in her time in the State Department, it has failed everywhere in the world. So.
All right. Yep, it has failed. Now, on climate change, watch this.
I don't know of any era in world history where the climate has been stable. Climate is always evolving, and natural disasters have always existed.
But let me get this straight. You do not think that human activity, the production of CO2, has caused warming to our planet?
I do not believe that human activity is causing these dramatic changes to our climate the way these scientists are portraying it. That's what I do not. And I do not believe that the laws that they propose we pass will do anything about it, except it will destroy our economy.
There you go. Good for Marco Rubio on the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax Television.